newspaper publications. So we want to just clarify. Fiscal deficit. We'll give the copy of that.
So just to share with you, we're giving a copy of the presentation to you. So you don't have to click too many pictures. Save the memory of the phone also for other people. We'll give you a copy of the presentation.
So now fiscal deficit is what? Fiscal deficit is basically the receipts minus expenditure. Very simple terms. So how much we have money from our tax collections, from the government of India also collects taxes on behalf of all the states and gives the share to the states. So we get share of central taxes, we have our own taxes and other revenues. So these all are receipts minus our expenditure. That is fiscal deficit. So the overall story across the world is that every country, every state, every city, everybody who has finances is expected to spend a little bit more than what you have, especially because when you spend more, the growth happens. So, and that is how the whole world economy works. So, but there is a limit. If you go beyond limit, that's the problem. So, the government of India has for the long time through what is called the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, all the states have said that there is a limit. 3% was the limit, but in the last 5 years, because of COVID, government of India is saying, please borrow more and spend more and invest in capital. So, they have increased this limit to about 4%. So 4% is the limit of borrowing. That much we have to borrow. We cannot borrow more than that. I think the question of government borrowing more does not arise because this is controlled by government of India. Every 3 months, government of India gives us a letter saying that this quarter you can borrow X amount. That letter the finance department sends to RBI. Only then RBI borrows on our behalf. We are not even borrowing. We send the government of India's permission to Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India does the auction, and whatever is the rate at that time, based on that we get the money. So that is how it works. So the question of estate borrowing, this was possible before 2020. Many states, not our state thankfully, but many southern states, Punjab, these states were borrowing what are called as off-budget borrowings. Means without showing in the budget through public sector corporations and all, borrowing was permitted. But in 2020 onwards, every year the finance department, I sign a declaration and we give to finance department, so Ministry of Government of India, saying that we have not done any off-budget borrowings, we have followed all your regulations. We give a signed declaration. Only based on that declaration they give the what is called the borrowing permission, and this permission goes to Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India raises money for the states. This is a common procedure for all states. So from 2020 onwards this system is there. So every state we get permission only for this 4%. So we cannot go beyond the 4%. Now the question is, if we cannot go beyond 4%, how is our fiscal deficit 6.5%? So this is what AG is also asking, and this is I think the main issue which we want to clarify. So what has happened, a very interesting thing that has happened after COVID is, again, Government of India came up with a scheme called SASCI. It's called the Special Capital Assistance to States for Capital Investment. So Government of India said, India has to grow. We have this Viksit Bharat dream. India has to become a developed country. So states have to invest more in capital projects. They have to take up new projects, new roads, new schools, new highways, new buildings, all kinds of new capital projects. So Government of India said, we will give you money to the states. The Government of India will borrow and give to the states as a 50-year interest-free loan. So it's a 50-year interest-free loan will be given to the states. So take this money, invest in capital projects. So, and the special capital assistance scheme comes as one is a normative allotment, which is we get a quota of that money.
And that is a column number 1. So this table on the side, you can see that's a very important table to note. So the normative allotment, what we mean by normative allotment is the allotment or the budgetary allotment that Government of India allows the states to take. So if you can see in the first column, the normative allocation for Meghalaya in 2020-21 is 200. Next year also it was 200. Third year it was increased to 614, and fourth year it was increased to 767. So this is what the normative allotment has been. But then based on our work that we did, the UCs that we submitted on time, all the utilization we did, if you can see the second column, we have able to receive additional amount of you can say bonus, performance-based incentive bonus, and that is where Meghalaya, in fact, in 2022-23, if you look at the last column, our normative allotment was only 614, but we ended up getting 1,049 crores because we were able to utilize the funds and submit the UCs and all the aspects in a very, very quick manner. Now, why this is important? Commissioner Secretary will just give more details.
So basically, this is free money, effective. I mean, anybody knows who knows numbers. A 50-year interest, even if anybody gives you a 50-year interest free loan, please take it because it's equivalent to a grant. So in a 50-year interest-free loan is equivalent to a grant. It is not a loan at all. But accounting wise, yes, it's a loan. It's a loan government of India is taking and it is given to the states. So in this, as sir said, there is some money that is given to every state as a matter of right. There is some which is performance based. So you submit good DPRs, you submit good projects, you submit the UCs on time. So if you can see, we are one of the better performing states, especially last year. Our normative was 765, not 767. We got 825 crores on the performance based on urban reforms, for the construction of Unity Mall, for the construction of digital libraries in 700 villages, for doing police housing. All these are schemes based on DPR and on a first come first serve basis. This year, that is 24-25, we are targeting 2085 crores under this scheme. Again, our normative is only about 765. So what we are saying is that because we are getting more money under this, so our year is 22-23. 22-23, we got 1000 crores under this scheme, 1049. 1000 crores as a percentage of 400 crores, 40,000 crores, which is our GSDP, is 2.5%. So our permissible GSDP is 4%. Another 2.5% is coming from here. So therefore, our GSDP in the accounting becomes 6.5%, our fiscal deficit. But effectively, our fiscal deficit is less than 4. This is a loan by definition. But in reality, this is not a loan; it is a grant. So that is the biggest reason why our fiscal deficit, that's the only reason actually, why our fiscal deficit is showing as 6.5 instead of less than 4. Next slide please.
And this also, just to give an example.
How much this for 50 years this interest-free loan? How much is given?
So that's what. Go back. So this interest-free loan for 50 years, the normative allotment in the first column, that is the amount given to Meghalaya. We were given 200 normative. We used 200 in the first year. Second year we were given 200, but we performed very well, so we got extra 100. We got total 300. Third year, our normative allotment was 614. We did very good, and we got additional 435 crores. Total went to 1049 crores. Last year, we were given 765 crores. We did well. We got extra 825 and total of 1293. So we are one of the highest beneficiaries actually of this particular scheme. And as mentioned by Commissioner Secretary, we don't have to pay the interest for this. So, this is going to be the principal amount. After 50 years, we'll have to repay back. And we will show you again that there is a mechanism for this to also hedge for this in one way, where we have got a fund that in a sinking consolidated fund, money is kept, and that hedging is done for that also in that particular aspect, which we will show you later on. So this is technically, in a way, a grant, but for accounting purpose, since it is a long-term loan being taken by Government of India, the CAG had to put it under some head.
It has been instructed by Government of India.
To put it under this head. So all states have gone through this. All the states have everything. Even Assam, they got about 2,000 crores under this. We got 1,000 crores last year, 1,200 crores last year. They took about 2,000 plus crores. But their GSDP is 1,50,000 crores. So therefore, 2,000 for a GSDP of 1,50,000 crores, the percentage is much lesser. So the impact of that accounting on a large state is much lesser compared to a small state where 1,200 on a 40,000 or a 1,000 crore on a 40,000 is about 2.5%. So that's where these numbers are showing. So AG is not wrong in what they're doing. It's just that this number should not technically be under our debt, our fiscal deficit numbers, but then AG was instructed to do it. And just to share with you, this issue has been raised with Government of India, and Government of India, in fact, yesterday, Commissioner Secretary had a meeting at Finance Department, and this issue has been raised. Finance Ministry has taken cognizance of this, and they have asked us to write a letter, which they're then going to take up with the AG to ensure that in the future, this number should not come under our fiscal deficit or even the debt category.